Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Krendor, and welcome back to Krendor Talks in front of a shitty green screen. Today, we're talking about the Maggotkin of Nurgle faction focus, and from what I've seen, it's looking pretty good. So let's just jump right in to looking this over. And yet again, I need to redo my window capture. There it is. All right. Maggotkin of Nurgle. So I'm a big Nurgle player. I've played numerous Nurgle games in Age of Sigmar 3.0. I didn't really play them in 2.0, but I played a lot in 3.0. Well over probably 10 games to 20 games. I probably got like 15, 20 games with Nurgle. So, you know, somebody's probably like, I've played in tournaments with like 8 billion games, right? But like, I have a pretty good understanding. I've played a lot, you know, compared to, I would say, a lot of people. So, here we go, right? So jumping right into it, battle traits. So this is where I was most concerned because to me, Age of Sigmar 3.0 Nurgle was most fun because I got to disease stuff. I love diseasing. Even if I would lose the game, the most fun I had playing Nurgle was annoying my opponent and just being like, disease! And that's what I loved about Nurgle, right? It was so fun. It's kind of like in Magic when you'd play like a blue-black deck and you would just be like, you have to return your card to your hand. You lose that thing. And it's just like, you might lose the game, but your opponent's like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And that what was so good about Nurgle. So, jumping right into it. Battle traits. Blessed by the Plague Father. Pick one of the following effects. Infect. Pick an enemy unit. This is once per turn, by the way. Pick an enemy unit that is in combat with a friendly Maggotkin of Nurgle unit to be the target. The target has the disease keyword. So, bam. Right off the bat, you can infect things with disease. I love that. Next, we have spread. Pick a diseased enemy unit to be the target. Each other enemy unit within that target's combat range has the disease keyword. So I love this. I love the fact that once you disease something, then if it's near other stuff, it's trying to get buffs, right? It's trying to, you know, do whatever. Anything within, so combat range, so 3 inches now, right? Is gonna just spread disease to everything. And then if all enemy units on the battlefield have disease, inflict 1 mortal damage on each of them, which that seems really good now, especially like I keep mentioning in all these in the new edition where mortal damage seems less prevalent across the board. Being able to just be like, bloop, 1 mortal damage, just like straight up at the, you know, at once per turn, like bloop. So that's like 2 mortal damage per round on every unit. I think what's cool about this is I love the thematic feel of either I can disease you. If you're diseased and you don't care, you're going to spread it. And then if everything is diseased and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. Like, I got other stuff to do. Then, boom, you're just taking damage, right? I think that's so cool. So then we have the passive. If a diseased enemy unit uses an ability that would heal or return slain models to it, instead of healing or returning models, that unit no longer has the disease keyword. So, it used to be you had, like, the option to get rid of disease or, actually, I don't think it ever affected rally. I think it was just healing. It would be like, maybe it did affect rally. I don't know. Either way, I mean, this is really strong, especially with the new rally and everything like that, where you can either bring back models or heal. Now it's like disease just cuts it off. It's like, oh, you want to rally? Too bad. You have to get rid of the disease first, right? So it's another annoying block in the way of what your opponent wants to do. Then we have the once per turn at the end of any turn army-wide. Which, by the way, this is also end of any turn. So I'm curious if you can disease and then do this one. So roll a d3 for each diseased enemy unit. On a 2-up, inflict amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the roll. So again, the old d3 coming in hot, which is going to be confusing. But essentially 1 and 2 misses, right? Or fails. And then 3-4 is 1 mortal wound. And then 5-6 is 2 mortal wounds, 3 mortal wounds. I'm already confused still. So either doing nothing, 2, or 3. And then if you're stacking that, you're doing the additional 1 if the whole thing. So I mean, these can add up quickly. If they just were like, whatever, and their entire army's disease, it's like 1 mortal wound on top of potentially 2 and 3 extra mortal wounds. Like they're dropping hard. So I really like this. I think this is so cool. I'm glad they kept the disease mechanic because it was one of my favorite things. And it just feels so thematic, right? I think that's what a lot of people were worried about, is they were just going to cut all the feeling of the army, which I think a lot of people felt with 40k. But this is like, listen, when you're playing Nurgle, you're like, dude, I'm getting disease. And it makes sense. You're like, I got to get disease off this guy. He's still diseased. He's taking damage. Like, there's so many different things happening. And there's other mechanics similar to this that we've seen, right? Like the Tzeentch fire thing. But I think they kind of play in different ways, right? So I think what differentiates disease is it keeps spreading, right? Like, you have to get rid of it or it's spreading, which I think is really cool. But like they all seem to do the 2-up D3 mortals, right? So I like this a lot. I think it's really fun. So then we have a battle formation being shown off here. Effect, from the second battle round onwards, add 1 to the amount of mortal damage inflicted, if any, by the racked with disease ability, which is the one that procs at the end of the turn, right? So you're essentially doing D3 plus 1 if you do it, which, hey, an extra mortal wound sounds fantastic to me, and it's a guaranteed mortal, although you got to roll the 2-up. But again, that's what I meant to say. So they're both end of any turn, right? So that means I imagine you can pick which one you want to do first, so that you can be like, oh, I'm going to disease your guy, and now I'm going to roll the mortals to try and do that. Or like, you do the mortals, and then you do this one. Because I would imagine you want to do this one first, because you want to disease stuff, yeah? That would make the most sense to me, so... Then we have Fleshy Abundance. Pick a friendly Maggotkin of Nurgle wizard to cast this spell. Pick a friendly Maggotkin of Nurgle unit wholly within 12 to be the target. You got to get a 7. If the target is damaged, heal D3. If the target is not damaged, subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks that target this unit until the start of your next turn. That's really good, and it's unlimited. So you can just keep casting. Wow, like that is really good. You're just getting healing across the board, or you're just getting -1 to wounds. So it's like, I mean, both are insanely strong. Like, wow, that is a fantastic spell. Then we get the Great Unclean One. So, for comparison, I like pulling up the old War Scrolls in these. Just because I don't know. I like comparing and contrasting, right? So here we go. Let me pull up the old Great Unclean One so that we can do that. We have Great... Professional YouTuber here. Okay, so we got 4-inch move on the old one. It's up to a 6-inch move now. So extra 2 inches of movement is fantastic. I mean, straight up, like going from 4 to 6 inches, like that is massive. Giggity. He's got the extra 2 wounds. He's got the 4-up save, and then instead of 10 bravery, he's got 5 control. Okay. So pretty standard with the control stuff. So now we go to Noxious Bile. 7 inches. It used to be D6, 3s by bracketing 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3 Ren, 2 damage. So now it is D3 plus 3, so you get the consistency there, which is nice. 3s by 2s, so it doesn't bracket anymore, which is fantastic. 2 Ren, so 1 Ren goes away, but it seems like things have worse saves now. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like it's not even changed that much. 2 damage, plus shoot in combat, which is insanely strong in this edition. Because, I mean, it's an extra melee attack at this point, right? So, really good. Then we have his Colossal Blight Weapons and Host of Nerdlings. So, or Nurglings, not Nerdlings. So, the Nurglings used to be, what was it, 15 attacks, 5x5s, 1 damage. And it's crit auto wound and a companion attack, and it would bracket down to 10, 5, and then 0. So now they just give you flat 10 and the crit auto wound, which, fine, that's fine with me. I mean, having the crit auto wound is actually, like, the biggest thing here, because it's 5x5s, right? So, like, what are the odds you're going to roll 5s and 5s on 10 dice? So, I mean, if you get some 6s, bam, you're just hitting. That's actually pretty nice. Get some chip damage in there. And then... So now he's got all the Colossal Blight weapons. So the Bile Sword, the Bell, the Bile Blade, the Plague Fail, they're all just clustered into one, which I'm fine with that. I don't mind. I honestly like it being cleaned up like that. I think it's a little less confusing. And most of the time, people took the same shit anyway. So, like, whatever. So 4 attacks, 3s by 2s, 2 rend, 4 damage. So this is equivalent to the... This is probably the closest to the Bile Sword, I believe. Because that used to be 4 attacks, 4s by 3s, 2 rend, 4 damage. So it's actually better. So now it went from 4 attacks to 3s by 2s to rend, 4 damage. So pretty nice. There's no abilities, but like whatever, who cares? It's 4 damage. If you get a couple of those through, like you're slicing and dicing, right? On top of the Noxious Bile, you're probably hitting with. So then we have the battle damage, which reduces it from 4 down to 3, which, I mean, listen, you compare 4 attacks down to 3 attacks on a hard-hitting weapon versus what it used to be, which was you're bracketing, like your Nurglings are going down, your Noxious Biles hitting on like 4s and 5s at low health, your Monstrous Rampage thing, which was the Mountain of Loathsome Flesh or whatever, was going way down, which I don't think he has that anymore, but honestly, I think he makes up for it with a lot of this other stuff, so that's honestly not that bad. Plus 20 wounds, so he's getting the extra 2 wounds anyway, so he's like, I don't know, he just seems so much better. So then, instead of summoning, which we've seen over and over, they've reiterated that summoning is gone, and now it's become a kind of recycling unit so that you don't have to bring as much stuff to your game, which is, honestly, I like it. I know some people are like, summoning, but I really don't mind. I think I enjoy bringing less models and having to transport stuff, right? So, declare. Pick a friendly Maggotkin of Nurgle demon unit that started the battle with 3 or more models and that has been destroyed to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 4-up, set up a replacement unit with half the number of models, rounding up, wholly within 12 and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Great. I mean, you're bringing stuff back, although the 4-up is a little wacky wild, but, you know, I mean, you are bringing stuff back, especially stuff that dies not that easily, so there's that. We have Bloated with Corruption once per turn, end of any turn. If this unit is damaged, pick up to 3 enemy units in combat with this unit to be the targets. Roll a d3 for each. And a 2-up, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. So, I mean, pretty nice. That's because this is in addition to the disease, right? Like you're hitting him with everything, then you're hitting with the disease mortal wounds, and now on top of that, he's got this bloat that's going to do an additional D3 mortal wounds. So, I mean, you're getting hit hard with these mortals if you're just staying next to Nurgle. Like, it's kind of insane the amount of mortals you're going to start taking if you're not paying attention. And then you've got Plague Wind, which is pick a visible enemy unit within 12, make a casting roll. The target has the disease keyword. So, you're just straight up, I mean, putting disease on people, which, I mean, this can be pretty nice. It probably just depends. I mean, I would probably rather have the heal spell with the -1 to wound, but I mean, let's say you already cast that. I mean, he is a wizard too, so maybe you cast that, and now you cast Plague Wind. Like, Plague Wind's just his spell, right? So you could cast something else and then be like, all right, I'm going to cast Plague Wind. I mean, you're never going to be casting Mystic Shield because you already got 5-up wards, and now Mystic Shield's a 6-up ward. So that won't be happening. So yeah, this is, I really like the new Great Unclean One. Like, it feels just a lot cleaner and a lot more just solidified. Like, I don't know, he just feels better. Like, everything feels tighter and more impactful. So really liking that. Now we go to the Sloppity. Good old Sloppity Bilepiper. So previously, the Bilepiper was a 4-move. Still is a 4-move. 5/5, 2 control. Bravery doesn't matter. Used to be 4 attacks, 4s by 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. Now it's 3 attacks, 4s by 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. That's fine. He's a guy with a bagpipe. I don't think he's going to be hitting very hard. But this is why you take him. So, previously, at the start of combat, you can say this unit will play a revolting tune. Pick one of the tunes. It lasts until the end of that phase. Cannot benefit for more than 2 phase, blah, blah, blah. So it used to be add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by Nurgle demons wholly within 14. Unmodified wound rolls for an attack did mortals on 6s in addition, and then subtract 1 from hit rolls. So now, we've got add 1 to wound rolls still. That's still a thing. This is also on a 2-up now, so they did make it so it could fail, which I love the fact that maybe he's trying to play his bagpipes and he's like, it's just not working. I think it's dumb, but I kind of love that. Then we have ward rolls cannot be made for damage points inflicted by the target's combat attacks, which that seems pretty. So they replaced the mortals on 6s, which again, it makes sense. They're trying to lower the amount of mortals, but not being able to use ward saves is pretty nice, especially with the higher saves around the board now. Like, that could be pretty spicy. So, I mean, and it also depends on the situation, right? And then he's also got -1 to hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units to target, which is the same. So, I mean, I love this. I think the biggest thing is, like, if you're wanting to do some damage, right, you probably go add 1 wound rolls. If they are an army that has heavy ward saves, I mean, what if you're playing against another Nurgle army, right? Then you can just cancel out their 5-up ward, and then subtract 1 to hit rolls can be useful if, I mean, maybe you're fighting an army like Gits, where they're already hitting high on like 4s and 5s, now you make it 5s and 6s, right? So, I mean, it all just kind of depends what type of army you're going against, but you have that versatility. You got this grab bag to kind of choose from, which is nice. A lot of people also are like, where's my ward saves? They're right here. They're the smallest thing you can see. They're keywords now. I mean, I think people get used to it, but it is kind of annoying being like so small on the thing, but whatever. Now, this might be one of my favorite War Scrolls they updated, the Harbinger of Decay. So, this guy came out with a new model last year or around there, and he was pretty fun to play with, but I didn't think he was very good. Like, he was okay. So, he's got the same stats as he used to have, 873. It used to be you had to pick whether you wanted the Plague Scythe or the Doom Bell, and then he had the Grim Sword. So, now it's just like, here it is. You get both, which, thank God. And so he's got 3 attacks, 3s/3s, 1 rend, 3 damage with crit mortals, and then 2 attacks, 5/3s, 1 damage on his diseased horse. Makes sense. I imagine somebody's like, they're like fighting, and then the diseased horse is just like, oh. I think it's funny. So we have once per battle. Army. Enemy hero phase. So let me show you the old one, because this is... Where is it? Here it is. This is actually pretty big. So, if this unit carries a Doom Bell once per battle in your hero phase, it can toll the Doom Bell. If it does so, enemy units within 14 are filled with despair, and until your next hero phase, the following effects apply: -1 move, run, and charge. So now, you no longer need to equip the Doom Bell. You just have it, which I love. Thank God I get to use my model's abilities, which is cool. I always like that. Now, instead of 14 inches, it is 24 inches, which is an insane buff. That is so good. It's still once per battle, but it's limited to 3 units, but like, I feel like most of the time that's probably going to be enough. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from the move characteristic and of each target, and subtract 1 from run rolls and charge rolls for each target. So, I mean, it's the same effect, but you can keep your weapons. You don't have to swap your weapons out so he doesn't hit very hard for this. And now it's 24 inches, which I think that makes the biggest difference, right? Because if somebody's rolling a 3d6 charge even, that allows you to subtract 1 from that charge, which can do stuff. I mean, the move and run roll -1 at 24 inches is fantastic, because that's limiting their ability to even get near you. I mean, he could be so far out, and somebody's trying to get an objective way over there, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pop it. And now their unit that maybe they're slow, maybe they're like dwarves or something, they're only moving 5. Now they're going 4. And now they're charging 1 less, they're running 1 less, so maybe they were like, I can barely get to that objective right now. And now you pop this, and you're like, no, you can't. Like, that is so good. That's like a game-breaking ability. Well, not game-breaking, but like a game-winning ability, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, anything that impacts movement is what I've learned over the years is strong. Like, any movement-impacted ability is so good. So I love that. And then we have the Omens of Decay, which is his prayer. He is a priest 1. So, hold on, my music ended. It used to be, pick an enemy unit within range, subtract current battle round number from their bravery, but bravery's not a thing anymore. So now, pick an enemy unit within 12 to be the target, make a chanting roll of d6. You need to get a 4, subtract twice the current battle round number from the target's control score for the rest of the turn. If the chanting roll was 10+, this ability affects all enemy units within 12. That's crazy. Again, I think we've talked about how much objective control is going to matter a lot, right? And so say we're like getting to the late game, we're at like round 3 or 4, and you slowed down your opponent, right? They took an extra turn to even get to this objective because you just -1 move, charge, run, right? Now they get there, and you pop this prayer, and you're like, yeah, you don't control it. Like, oh my god, that's so annoying. I love it. Like, this guy, I feel like this guy is just so much better. Especially, I mean, even just hitting harder at this point, right? Like, his old attack used to be 2 attacks, 3s/3s, 2 Ren, 3 damage. Now it's 3 attacks, 3s/3s, 1 Ren, 3 damage. But, I mean, you're also getting crit mortals, which is pretty good. Just popping 3 mortals on somebody. On top of disease and everything, I mean, that can add up. So, next up, we have the Putrid Blight Kings, which have changed quite a bit, actually. So they used to be 4-inch move. They still are. 3 wounds instead of... They used to be 4 wounds. But they did get a +1 to their save. They used to be a 4-up save. Now they're a 3-up save and 1 control. They still have their 4. So they're a 3-up by 5-up, which is probably going to be really strong in this. But the big thing here, right? They still have their blighted weapons, which used to be 5 attacks, 3s/3s, 1 Ren, 1 damage. Now it's 4 attacks, 3s/3s, 1 Ren, 1 damage. I'm sure there's going to be ways to buff these guys or do whatever, right? Add 3 to this unit's control score while each model in this unit is contesting an objective you control. So, these guys are pretty much meant to sit on an objective and just be annoying. Like, it even says it right here. They are exceptionally resilient with a forward 5-up and can handle rebuff foes, or can handily rebuff foes who try and seize objectives they have already firmly planted themselves on with bloated bulk. So, I mean, yeah, they're there to be annoying and just, I mean, can you imagine? You got Blight Kings and you've got this guy on an objective, and then you make it so your opponent has to fight the Blight Kings, and then on top of that, they're just not even controlling it because you do this prayer, and that's just, that is so annoying. And then you have to get through the 3-up, 5-up, which maybe you put -1 to wound on these guys, and now all of a sudden, they're 3-up, 5-up, -1 to wound, and then you're not even getting, like, this can be, there's some insane combos happening here from a control perspective. So it feels like Nurgle in general is just a very slow, but, like, annoying army to deal with, which is what Nurgle is, right? That's... That's how Nurgle should be. It's going to be interesting to see the flies, because the flies have been an issue because they're fast. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do there. Or the big, not the Great Unclean One, but the big monster. What's it called? Not Blood Rot Spawn, not the... Why can't I find it? The Glotkin. Oh my god, why did it take me 20 years to figure that out? So seeing the Glotkin, seeing all the like Morbid X Twiceborn and all that. I hope the Articulous Slimex is good, because I love that model. Just the big snail scooting around. I hope he's good. But I mean, they look really fun, man. And then Plague Bears, we can see here. 4 move, 2 health, 6-up save, 1 control, which I think is like the same. They got 1 attack, 4s/3s, no Ren, 1 damage. However, just like the Clan Rats, they now have crit mortal. So, I mean, you're doing mortal wounds with Plague Bear crits, which is pretty solid. Just, I mean, because you're going to get these guys probably in the combat to be annoying. They're -1 to hit and shooting still. And then they still got their 5-up ward. And you're just, I mean, you're diseasing. You're doing disease mortals. And then you're hoping to get some crit mortals in here. And then maybe like 1 or 2 chip damage. And then just slowly withering away your opponent. So, I mean, I'm very happy with what I've seen here. I love the Nurgle stuff. I hope the rest of the army is just as good, because I love everything I saw there. I think it's great. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below about Nurgle. And like, comment, subscribe. And here's some other faction focuses I did. Okay? Okay. See you.